Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the main control room of Earth's biggest space station and looked at the large screen showing enemy ships. The blue lights from the display made his tired face look older than his 50 years. He had been fighting wars for other people for almost his whole adult life. Now those same people wanted to destroy everything humans had built. Commander Lisa Hart walked up to him with a datapad in her hands. Her brown hair was pulled back tight and her uniform was perfect as always. She had been working for 18 hours straight, trying to decode the message from the Galactic Council. The news she brought was worse than anyone had expected. "Admiral, the message is clear," Lisa said in a quiet voice. "They want us to give up all our technology and stay on Earth forever. No more space travel, no more advanced weapons, no more contact with other worlds." Jake took the datapad and read the official words. The Council called humans too dangerous to be free. They said humans were too aggressive and would cause problems for peaceful species across the galaxy. It was all lies and everyone knew it. Humans had been the Council's soldiers for 30 years. They had fought and died to protect worlds they had never even seen. Captain Ryan Brooks had just returned from the Council, meeting on Centaurus Prime. His ship was still docking when he called Jake on the communication system. Ryan looked angry and tired. He had spent 5 years trying to make friends with the alien leaders. He had believed they were all working together to make the galaxy a better place. "They planned this from the beginning," Ryan said through the screen. "I heard them talking after the meeting. They never saw us as partners. We were just useful tools to them. Now that the big wars are over, they don't need us anymore." Jake remembered the Xerian Wars that had lasted for 12 long years. Human soldiers had died by the millions fighting insect-like creatures that wanted to eat every living thing in their path. The aliens had stayed safe on their homeworlds while humans bled and died in space. After the war ended, the Council had given humans new technology as a reward. Now Jake understood it was all part of their plan. Dr. Helen Carter was working in her lab 3 levels below the command center. She was the smartest person Jake knew when it came to alien technology. For weeks she had been studying the equipment that other species had given to humans. What she found made her sick to her stomach. Helen called Jake on his personal communicator. "Admiral, you need to come down here right now. What I found changes everything." Jake left Lisa in charge and took the elevator down to the science section. Helen met him at the door to her lab. Inside, she had taken apart a plasma rifle that humans had been using for 20 years. The inside of the weapon was spread out on a metal table. "Look at this," Helen said, pointing to a small silver chip. "Every piece of technology they gave us has one of these inside. I ran tests on it for 3 days. It's a control device. They can turn off any of our weapons or ships whenever they want." Jake stared at the tiny chip. It was smaller than his fingernail, but it meant that humans had never really been free. Every battle they had won, every ship they had built, every weapon they carried could be turned off by the Council with the push of a button. "How long have you known?" Jake asked. "I started suspecting something 2 months ago when our new fighters had power problems during training. The problems only happened when Council ships were nearby. I thought it was just interference at first." Helen showed Jake more evidence on her computer screen. She had found the control chips in everything from basic tools to the massive engines that powered human spacecraft. The aliens had been watching and controlling human technology for 3 decades. "Can we remove them?" Jake asked. "Some of them, yes, but it will take time and we'll have to be very careful. If they detect what we're doing, they might activate all the chips at once. Every human ship and weapon in space would just stop working." Jake thought about the thousands of human ships spread across the galaxy. Most of them were near alien worlds, helping to keep the peace or protecting trade routes. If the Council activated the control chips now, those ships would be sitting targets. President Marcus Stone appeared on the main screen in Helen's lab. He was calling from Earth with an emergency message for all human military commanders. Marcus looked older than when Jake had last seen him. The weight of leading the human race during this crisis was showing on his face. "All military personnel, we have confirmed reports that Council fleets are moving toward human colonies. They're not coming to talk. Intelligence sources say they plan to attack any humans who refuse to surrender. We're officially at war." Jake felt his heart sink. The human colonies were spread across 40 different star systems. Most of them had only basic defenses because they had always counted on the Council for protection. Now those same protectors were coming to destroy them. Lisa's voice came through the speakers. "Admiral, we're getting emergency calls from New Austin Colony. Council ships just appeared in their system. They're demanding immediate surrender. Jake ran back to the command center with Helen close behind him. The main screen now showed a map of human space with red dots marking enemy fleets. There were more red dots than Jake could count. How many ships do we have that might still work if they activate the control chips? Jake asked. Lisa checked her computer. Maybe 12 ships that we've been working on in the repair yards. Their systems aren't fully connected yet, and the old training ships that still use mostly human technology. 12 ships against hundreds of alien vessels. Jake had faced bad odds before, but never anything like this. Still, he had learned something important during his years of fighting for the Council. Humans were different from other species in ways that mattered in war. They didn't give up when things looked hopeless. They got angry instead. Send a message to all human ships and colonies, Jake said. Tell them the truth about what's happening. Tell them the Council has been controlling our technology from the beginning, and tell them we're going to fight back. Helen was already working on her computer, trying to find ways to remove or disable the control chips. Admiral, I might be able to create a signal that will burn out the chips in our most important systems. But it's dangerous. Some of our equipment might be damaged permanently. Do it, Jake said without hesitation. We'd rather have broken ships that we control than perfect ships that our enemies can turn off. The betrayal hurt more than Jake had expected. For 30 years, humans had believed they were part of something bigger and better. They had sacrificed everything to help build a peaceful galaxy. Now they knew the truth. They had always been alone. President Marcus Stone sat in the emergency meeting room deep under the White House. The room was filled with military leaders, scientists, and government officials from around the world. Everyone looked worried and tired. They had been working for 3 days straight since the Council's betrayal became known. Outside, people were scared and angry. Many wanted to fight back even though the odds seemed impossible. Colonel Danny White stood at the front of the room with a large screen behind him. He was in charge of Operation Blackout, the plan to remove alien control from human technology. Danny had been working with computers and alien tech for 15 years. If anyone could figure out how to break free from the Council's control, it was him. We've made progress, Danny said to the group. Dr. Carter's team found a way to burn out the control chips without destroying our equipment. We've tested it on 50 different devices and it works. But we need time to do this to all our ships and weapons. General Patricia Lee asked the question everyone was thinking. How much time do we need? At least 2 weeks to get our main fleet ready. Maybe a month to do everything, Marcus shook his head. We don't have that long. Council fleets will be here in 5 days. We need to fight with whatever we can get working. Admiral Tony Garcia had been quiet during most of the meeting. He was thinking about the 12 human ships that might still work when the fighting started. Tony had commanded fleets of hundreds of ships during the big wars. Now he would be lucky to have a dozen vessels that could fight. Mr. President, Tony said, I think we can do more damage than they expect. The Council has never seen humans fight without their rules. We've been holding back for 30 years. Following their ideas about how wars should be fought. They think they know what we can do, but they're wrong. Dr. Kate Miller was working in a lab in Colorado, far from the meeting in Washington. She led a team of engineers who were racing to fix as many ships as possible. Kate had not slept for 2 days. She drank coffee and kept working while her team took apart alien technology piece by piece. Kate's team had discovered something interesting while removing the control chips. The alien technology was actually less advanced than humans had been told. The Council had been lying about their abilities for decades. Human engineers could build better weapons and ships if they stopped copying alien designs. This plasma cannon is a joke, said one of Kate's engineers. We can make something twice as powerful with the materials we have here. Kate smiled for the first time in days. Then let's start building. We have 5 days to give our fleet some real weapons. Captain Amy Foster was on the Earth defense ship Vanguard, the newest and most powerful ship in the human fleet. Amy had fought in the Xerian Wars and knew how to handle her ship in battle. The Vanguard was one of the 12 ships that might still work when the Council arrived. Amy watched her crew prepare for battle. They were scared but determined. Most of them had never fought against the Council before. They had always been on the same side. Now everything had changed and they would be fighting their former allies. Captain, said her weapons officer, we've removed all the alien control chips from our main systems. The ship is completely under our control now. Amy felt better knowing that the Council could not turn off her ship during battle. Good work. How are our weapons? Dr. Miller's team upgraded our plasma cannons this morning. They're much more powerful than before. We also have the new missile system that Colonel White's people installed. The other ships in the fleet were getting similar upgrades. Human engineers were working around the clock to replace alien technology with human-made weapons. They could not match the Council's numbers, but they could make sure their ships hit harder than expected. Admiral Jake Morrison was back on the space station, coordinating the defense of Earth. He had moved most of the human fleet to positions around the solar system. When the Council arrived, they would find humans ready to fight. Jake received a message from the outer sensor stations. "Admiral, we're detecting ships coming out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. Looks like the Council fleet has arrived early." Jake looked at the tactical display. Red dots appeared on the screen as Council ships materialized in space. There were more than 300 vessels of different sizes and types. The largest ships belonged to the Altarians, the species that humans had saved from the Void Plague years ago. Now those same ships were coming to destroy Earth. "All human ships, this is Admiral Morrison," Jake said over the fleet communication system. "The enemy has arrived. Remember, we're not fighting for the Council anymore. We're fighting for our families, our homes, and our future. Show them what humans can really do." The Council fleet began moving toward Earth in a standard formation. They were not expecting much resistance. Their intelligence said that humans only had a few working ships left. They thought this would be an easy victory. Captain Ben Turner commanded the orbital defense platform above Earth's North Pole. His station had the most powerful weapons in the human arsenal, but it was a sitting target. Ben knew he would probably not survive the battle, but he was determined to make the Council pay for every shot they fired. Incoming message from the Council flagship. Ben's communication officer reported. "Put it on screen," Ben said. An alien face appeared on the main display. It was Commander Vex of the Altarian Navy. Ben recognized him from joint operations during the Xerian Wars. They had fought side by side against the insect creatures that threatened the galaxy. "Captain Turner," Vex said, "you are ordered to surrender your station immediately. Humans have been declared enemies of galactic peace. Surrender now and your people will be treated fairly." Ben looked at the alien he had once considered a friend. "Commander Vex, I have a message for you and the Council. Humans don't surrender, we fight. And we're about to show you why the galaxy needed us to win its wars." Ben cut the communication and turned to his weapons officer. "Target the Council flagship. Let's start this fight the right way." The first shots of the war came from Ben's orbital platform. The powerful energy beams hit the Council flagship's shields and made them flicker. The aliens had not expected humans to fire first. "All ships engage the enemy," Admiral Morrison ordered. The final battle for Earth's freedom had begun. Dr. Sam Parker stood in the ice cave deep under Antarctica, staring at walls covered with strange symbols that glowed with a soft blue light. He had been studying ancient human ruins for 20 years, but nothing had prepared him for what his team had found 3 days ago. The cave was huge, stretching for miles under the frozen continent. It was clearly built by humans, but the technology inside was far beyond anything the modern world had ever seen. Sam's assistant, Dr. Laura Kim, was taking pictures of the symbols with her camera. The markings seemed to respond to human presence, getting brighter when people came near them. Laura had been the first to notice that the symbols matched some of the basic patterns found in alien technology that the Council had given to humans. "Professor Parker," Laura said, "these symbols are everywhere in the cave system. They're not just decorations. I think there's some kind of control system." Sam nodded as he touched one of the glowing walls. The moment his hand made contact, the entire section lit up like a computer screen. Text appeared in ancient human languages that Sam could barely read. But mixed in with the old writing were diagrams that looked exactly like the blueprints for modern spacecraft engines. Meanwhile, in space above Earth, the battle was not going as the Council had expected. Human ships were fighting with a fury and skill that surprised the alien commanders. Captain Amy Foster's ship, the Vanguard, had already destroyed 2 Council vessels and damaged 3 more. The human fleet was outnumbered 30-1, but they were making every shot count. Admiral Tony Garcia watched the battle from his command ship and saw something that amazed him. The Council ships were fighting like they were still following peacetime rules. They were trying to disable human vessels instead of destroying them completely. The aliens still thought this was going to be a simple police action to arrest dangerous criminals. "All ships," Tony broadcast to the human fleet. "The enemy is holding back. They don't want to fight a real war. Let's show them what a real war looks like. Back in Antarctica, Sam's team had discovered that the cave system was much larger than they first thought. They found rooms filled with machines that had been sleeping for thousands of years. When humans entered these rooms, the machines began to wake up. Lights turned on, screens flickered to life, and a low humming sound filled the air. Dr. Mike Roberts was Sam's technology expert. He had worked with alien equipment for years and understood how their systems operated. But the technology in the caves was different. It was older and more advanced than anything the Council possessed. Mike connected his portable computer to one of the ancient machines and was shocked by what he found. "Sam, you need to see this," Mike called from across the room. "These machines are connected to a network that spans the entire planet. There are facilities like this one hidden all over Earth. Most of them are still dormant, but they're starting to respond to our presence." Sam looked at Mike's computer screen and saw a map of the world with hundreds of blinking dots. Each dot represented a hidden facility built by ancient humans. There were bases under mountains, beneath the ocean floor, and even on the dark side of the moon. General Nick Cooper was in the Pentagon War Room when the first reports came in from Antarctica. Nick had been skeptical when Sam's team reported finding advanced technology in the ice. Now satellite images showed massive energy readings coming from locations all around the world. Whatever Sam had found was spreading. "Sir," said Nick's aide, "we're getting similar readings from sites in the Sahara Desert, the Amazon rainforest, and the Himalayas. Something big is happening." Nick opened a secure communication link to Sam's team in Antarctica. "Dr. Parker, what exactly have you found down there?" Sam's voice came through clearly, despite being transmitted from deep underground. "General, I think we've found proof that humans are much older than we thought. This technology predates anything in our recorded history by tens of thousands of years, and it's all starting to wake up." Captain Ben Turner was still fighting from his orbital platform when his sensors detected something impossible. Massive structures were rising from the surface of Earth. They looked like crystal towers, but they were clearly artificial. The towers were appearing all over the planet, growing from hidden underground chambers. "Admiral Morrison," Ben reported, "something is happening on Earth's surface. I'm seeing structures that aren't on any map. They're big, sir. Some of them are already reaching into the upper atmosphere." Jake Morrison was too busy coordinating the space battle to pay much attention to Ben's report at first. But when his own sensors confirmed what Ben was seeing, Jake realized that the situation had just changed completely. The Council fleet had noticed the structures too. Their ships stopped advancing toward Earth and began scanning the mysterious towers. Admiral Vex, the Altarian commander, opened a communication channel to all ships in the system. "All vessels, cease fire immediately," Vex ordered. "We are detecting massive energy buildups across the human homeworld. Something is happening that was not in our intelligence reports." In the Antarctic cave, Sam watched as the ancient machines reached full power for the first time in millennia. The walls around him were now covered with moving displays showing star maps, technical diagrams, and streams of data in languages he did not recognize. But some of the information was clear enough to understand. "Laura, look at this," Sam said, pointing to a three-dimensional map floating in the air. "This shows the entire galaxy, but it's not current. This map is from thousands of years ago, and it shows Earth as the center of a vast empire." Laura studied the ancient star map and gasped. "Sam, according to this, humans once controlled most of the known galaxy. These other species, the ones in the Council, they're all marked as client races. We created them." The revelation was staggering. Humans were not the primitive newcomers that the Council believed them to be. They were the descendants of an ancient civilization that had once ruled the stars. The genetic locks in alien technology were not meant to control humans. They were recognition systems that identified humans as the rightful owners. Dr. Mike Roberts made another discovery that changed everything. The alien technology that the Council gave us, it's not really alien at all. It's based on human designs from our ancient empire. They've been using our own technology against us for thousands of years. As the crystal towers continued to rise from Earth's surface, they began to emit powerful energy fields that interfered with the Council fleet systems. Ships that had been preparing to attack Earth found their weapons offline, and their engines failing. The sleeping giant had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the command center of the newly awakened lunar facility, looking out at the Council fleet through a massive transparent wall that had risen from the moon's surface just hours before. The ancient base was incredible, filled with technology that made current human ships look like wooden boats. Everything responded to his voice and thoughts as if the machines had been waiting for him personally. The Council fleet hung motionless in space around Earth, their ships dark and powerless. The energy fields from Earth's crystal towers had shut down every piece of technology the aliens possessed. 300 warships had become floating metal coffins in a matter of minutes. The aliens inside were still alive, but they could not move, communicate, or fight. Jake activated the communication system that connected him to every ship and planet in the galaxy. His message would reach the Council's homeworlds, their colonies, and their military bases across thousands of star systems. For the first time in galactic history, humans would speak from a position of total strength. "This is Admiral Jake Morrison of the Human Defense Forces," he began, his voice calm but filled with authority. "I am speaking to all members of the Galactic Council and their subject peoples. You have betrayed us, lied to us, and tried to destroy us. Now you will learn the consequences of your actions." Director Alex Reed was in the main library of the lunar base, reading through ancient records that told the true history of the galaxy. Alex had been a historian before the war started, but now he was discovering that everything he had been taught was wrong. The record showed that humans had not only ruled the galaxy once, but they had been kind and generous rulers who helped other species grow and develop. "Admiral," Alex called through the communication system, "you need to see what I found. The Council species were our children in a way. We helped them evolve from primitive creatures into spacefaring civilizations. We gave them technology, taught them science, and protected them from dangers they could not handle alone." Jake listened to Alex's report while watching the disabled Council fleet. The irony was bitter. Humans had created these civilizations, and now those same civilizations had tried to destroy their creators. It was like children trying to murder their parents. Captain Julie Shaw was piloting the demonstration ship Aurora toward the Nexus trade station, the largest commercial hub in the galaxy. The station served 12 different species and processed millions of tons of trade goods every day. It was protected by the most advanced defensive systems the Council could build. Julie's mission was simple but terrifying. She would show the galaxy what humans could do to their enemies without firing a single shot. The Aurora was one of the ancient human ships that had awakened along with Earth's defensive systems. It was small, carrying only Julie and 5 crew members, but it possessed power beyond anything currently known. Approaching the Nexus station, Julie reported back to Jake. "The station has over 50,000 aliens on board and about 200 ships docked. Their defensive systems are active and targeting us." Jake watched through the Aurora's cameras as the massive station came into view. It was shaped like a wheel, spinning slowly in space with docking arms extending in all directions. Ships from dozens of different species were attached to the station like insects on a flower. "Proceed with the demonstration," Jake ordered. Julie activated the Aurora's main system, something the ancient records called a dominion field. The invisible energy waves spread out from her ship and touched every piece of technology within 1,000 miles. The effect was immediate and total. The Nexus station went dark. Every light turned off, every computer shut down, every life support system stopped working. The hundreds of ships docked at the station lost power at the same moment. In seconds, the busiest trade hub in the galaxy became a tomb floating in space. Julie waited exactly 10 minutes before reactivating the alien technology. Lights came back on, computers restarted, and the station's crew began frantically checking their systems. No permanent damage had been done, but the message was clear. Humans could shut down galactic civilization whenever they chose. General Patricia Lee was coordinating similar demonstrations across the galaxy. Human teams had awakened ancient facilities on dozens of worlds, each one capable of controlling any alien technology within several star systems. The genetic locks that the Council had used to control human equipment worked both ways. Since all alien technology was based on ancient human designs, humans could control it as well. "Admiral," Patricia reported, "we've successfully demonstrated our capabilities at 15 major installations. The Council's military bases on Altair, Vega, and Centaurus Prime are all experiencing total system failures. Their fleets are dead in space." Dr. Helen Carter was working in the lunar base's main laboratory, studying the technology that made these demonstrations possible. Helen had spent years learning how alien equipment worked, but the ancient human systems were far more advanced. They operated on principles that current science barely understood. The genetic locks aren't really locks at all, Helen explained to Jake. They're recognition systems. All this technology was designed to respond to human genetic patterns and brainwaves. We're not breaking into alien systems. We're reclaiming our own property. Captain Ryan Brooks received a priority message from the Council's emergency leadership on Altair Prime. The alien leaders wanted to negotiate, but their message was filled with fear and confusion. They were starting to understand that they had made a terrible mistake. Admiral Morrison, the Council's message began, we request immediate cessation of hostilities and a return to diplomatic negotiations. The current situation is beyond our previous understanding of human capabilities. Jake smiled grimly as he listened to the alien leader's words. They were scared now, but it was too late for fear. Humans had tried diplomacy for 30 years and been betrayed. Now it was time for the Council to learn what real power looked like. Director Reed, Jake said, send them our complete historical records. I want them to know exactly who they tried to destroy. Let them see what their ancestors owed to our ancestors. Jake then opened a new communication channel to address the entire galaxy. People of the Council worlds, you have lived a lie for thousands of years. Your histories claim that you developed technology and civilization on your own. The truth is that ancient humans guided your evolution and gave you everything you possess. We are not your enemies, we are your forgotten creators, and we are very disappointed in how our children have behaved. President Marcus Stone walked up the steps of the United Nations building in New York as cameras from around the world focused on him. Behind him, the crystal towers that had risen from Earth's surface gleamed in the morning sunlight, reaching high into the sky like monuments to humanity's awakened power. Marcus had been preparing this speech for 3 days, knowing that his words would change the course of galactic history forever. The plaza in front of the building was packed with reporters, government officials, and ordinary citizens who had come to witness this historic moment. Above them, alien ships still hung motionless in Earth's sky, their crews trapped inside powerless vessels that had become prisons of metal and plastic. Marcus stepped up to the podium and looked directly into the main camera. His words would be broadcast to every inhabited world in the galaxy through the ancient communication networks that humanity now controlled. For the first time in 30 years, humans would speak as equals to the species that had betrayed them. People of Earth and people of the galaxy, Marcus began, his voice strong and clear. Today marks the end of one age and the beginning of another. For 3 decades, humanity served the Galactic Council with loyalty and sacrifice. We fought your wars, defended your worlds, and died for your causes. In return, you planned to destroy us. Colonel Emma Ross was coordinating the massive evacuation operation from her command post in orbit around Mars. The Council fleets that had come to attack Earth were now fleeing in every direction, their ships barely functional and their crews desperate to escape human space. Emma watched hundreds of alien vessels limping away from the solar system, many of them damaged from their attempts to restart their engines. Admiral Morrison, Emma reported, the last of the Council attack fleet has cleared the outer system boundary. Total count shows 312 vessels in full retreat. Several of their ships suffered engine failures and had to be towed by others. Emma had served in the human military for 20 years and had never seen anything like the panic that had gripped the alien forces. These were the same species that had demanded humanity's surrender just days before. Now they were running away as fast as their damaged ships could carry them. Admiral Sarah King stood on the bridge of the Retribution, humanity's newest and most powerful warship. The ship had been built in just 2 days using ancient construction techniques that the awakened facilities had remembered. Sarah watched her screens as Council ships scattered across the galaxy, carrying news of humanity's return to every corner of known space. Captain, Sarah's communications officer reported, we're receiving surrender offers from 14 different Council worlds. They're asking for mercy and promising to follow any terms we set. Sarah smiled coldly as she read the messages. The same aliens who had planned to reduce humanity to a pre-industrial state were now begging for forgiveness. Fear was a powerful teacher, and the Council was learning quickly. Dr. Nathan Hayes was deep underground in the Sahara facility, working to activate more of humanity's ancient infrastructure. Nathan had discovered that Earth's awakened systems were just the beginning. Ancient human bases existed on hundreds of worlds across the galaxy, hidden and dormant for thousands of years. Now they were responding to signals from Earth and coming back to life. President Stone, Nathan called through the communication network. "We've successfully activated facilities in 12 star systems. The network is growing stronger every hour. Soon we'll have active bases in every major sector of the galaxy." Nathan looked at the holographic display that showed the expanding network of human facilities. Each new base that came online gave humanity more control over local alien technology. The Council's member species were discovering that their most basic tools and machines no longer obeyed them. Back at the United Nations, Marcus continued his speech to the galaxy. "We offer peace to those who accept the new reality. Humanity will take its rightful place as the senior species in this galaxy. We will no longer be your soldiers or your servants. We will be your leaders, as we were in ancient times." The cameras captured the faces of alien diplomats in the audience. Most of them looked terrified, finally understanding the magnitude of their mistake. The Council had tried to destroy a sleeping giant. And now that giant was fully awake and very angry. Captain Ben Turner was back on his orbital platform, but now it was connected to a massive ring of defensive stations that had risen from Earth's surface. The planet was protected by energy shields and weapons that could destroy entire fleets with a single shot. Ben had gone from commanding humanity's last desperate defense to overseeing the most powerful military installation in galactic history. "Platform control to all stations," Ben announced. "The last Council vessel has cleared our detection range. Earth's security perimeter is clear of hostile forces." The evacuation was complete, but Ben knew this was just the beginning. Word of humanity's awakening would spread across the galaxy, and some species would try to resist the new order. Those who chose to fight would learn the same lesson that the Council had learned. Dr. Kate Miller was in her laboratory, studying reports from human facilities across the galaxy. Each base that awakened brought new discoveries about humanity's ancient civilization. Kate was beginning to understand just how advanced their ancestors had been and how far modern humans had fallen before their recent awakening. The ancient humans didn't just rule the galaxy, Kate explained to her research team. They created most of the species we know today. The genetic engineering programs, the uplifting projects, the guided evolution, it's all documented in these records. Marcus concluded his speech with words that would be remembered throughout galactic history. "To those who choose to resist the return of humanity, we say this: you know what we are capable of. You have seen our power demonstrated across dozens of worlds. We can shut down your civilization as easily as turning off a light. We do not wish to be conquerors, but we will not accept being slaves." The president paused and looked directly into the camera. "The age of the Council is over. The age of humanity has begun. You have been given this one warning. Those who stand against us will be swept aside. Those who accept our leadership will prosper under our protection. Choose wisely, because this is the only choice you will be given." As Marcus finished speaking, every alien ship and station in the galaxy received the same message simultaneously. The words appeared on their screens in their own languages, burned into their computer systems where they could never be erased. Humanity has returned. Obey or be destroyed. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see who would be brave enough to test humanity's resolve. Most chose wisdom over courage, and the great evacuation continued as alien fleets fled toward the outer rim, carrying tales of humanity's awakening to every corner of known space.